Las Vegas Librarian Convention, huh? Good times. Shh. Shh. Time to check out. Okay, shh. No. Sleep. Can you really get away with murder? You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to the show. That's Matt behind the camera. I'm Ben, that makes this stuff they don't want you to know. Now this week, Matt and I have been looking at criminals who got away with it. It, in this case, could be any number of things. For our upcoming episode, we look at some very dark stuff. Murders, acts of mass murder, even cannibalism. And this got us thinking, how difficult is it to get away with murder? Or maybe a better way to say it is, how easy is it to get away with murder? Could you do it yourself if you were the murdering type, which we hope you are not? We ask this question because every year, thousands of homicides go unsolved in the United States alone. Now, this doesn't count questionable deaths where they wonder if it was a suicide or an unreported accident. We're talking about clearly this person was murdered, we have no idea who did it, and we can't find them. Thousands of those happen every year, and crime has been dropping in much of the United States for some time. So we'll talk about some of the do's and don'ts that lead to people getting away with a murder or getting caught and convicted. But before we do this, we have to put in a huge disclaimer, a caveat, okay? One, don't commit murder. Don't kill anybody. It's not worth it. There are much more effective ways to punish somebody. You could make them listen to horrible pop music forever. You could make them go on tour with Creed. I don't know. There are fates worse than death, is what we're saying. Two, neither Matt nor myself have ever, to our knowledge, committed an act of murder. So we are not talking from experience. We're talking from facts we have gleaned through some research in cases of successful murderers and unsuccessful murderers, defined, of course, by whether or not they were convicted. So some statistics first. The vast majority of people who are murdered are killed by someone that they know. Now, this could be a current or ex-spouse or a lover. This could be a sibling or another relative. This could just be a coworker who, for some reason, one day snaps. What this means is that people who tend to get away with murder are usually going to be people who killed someone that didn't have an ostensible connection with them. Because as soon as someone dies and is clearly dead due to a gunshot, over 60% of murders, at least in the United States, are conducted via gun. Then this means that as soon as that murder occurs, everybody that person knew is a potential suspect, everybody in their social sphere. So a successful murderer does not exist in that sphere to begin with. Other ways that murderers get caught. First, their evidence of planning is apparent. They're using credit cards, they're buying things in bulk in a store in their town. And when I say buying things in bulk, I mean like thick gloves, duct tape, some rope, some very mean looking shears or something, ammunition, books on how to escape off the grid. And they're buying it all at once, on their debit card. So that is very apparent. Or they're searching the internet for information on their home computer, which is also laughably apparent. Another very important thing, they're acting on impulse. They just found out that their husband was cheating on them, or they just found out that they were fired and didn't get a promotion. They leave in a fit of rage. They come back and they immediately commit a murder with no planning, no idea for the consequences. A successful murderer, to make a bad analogy, is a lot like one of those monks that makes an intricate sand painting. And what I mean by this is that planning is key and time is key. They pay cash for anything they buy. They don't buy it in the same place. They never buy it online. They don't buy it in the same town that they live. They also establish a routine that involves frequent travel. Why is this important? It's a great question. It's important because if you have an established routine that also helps build a long-standing alibi, it's not strange that John Q. Killer, for instance, went down to Orlando on the same night that his brother disappeared, because John Q. Killer always goes to Orlando in April. Another thing that some of these criminals might not think about is that a cell phone essentially functions as a homing beacon or a GPS device. So then it is possible, if there's any suspicion, to track that criminal's movements. And another question, of course, DNA. DNA is a surefire conviction in many cases if it connects to the culprit of a crime. So many successful homicides occur in places where there would already be a lot of stranger DNA around. So this could be, a public park in the wee hours of the morning. Oddly enough, we've also read that some of the most successful escapes for criminals, now this could be thieves as well as murderers and the like, one of the most common methods of transportation is on a bicycle, which is strange if you think about it, because you don't want to be the only car driving around at 3:40 in the morning or whatever, but you also don't want to be the only person walking. For some reason, a bike is often brought up as the best of both worlds. Again, worlds that none of us should be involved with, hopefully. Now, the facts that we've listed here apply to murders as well as other crimes, such as fraud or Grand Theft Auto. Not the video game, but it is awesome. In the case of murder specifically, quite a few criminals who are caught and later convicted are apprehended because their attempts to cover up their crime have actually led police to their doorstep. You will hear people saying, the old true detective tale type of body disposals, a bayou full of gator, not Gatorade, a tub of acid, things like that. The old cement shoes, that's a big one for the mafia. However, often, because this is real life and not television or film, this will inevitably lead people who professionally chase murderers right to the murderer's doorstep. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Please don't kill anybody. The odds are that you will not get away for one reason or another. And Agent Scully in the intro is fine. She was already a skeleton to begin with. It wasn't a real murder because I wasn't wearing gloves. Still here, huh? Tell me this, are you a fan of True Detective, that series on HBO? Matt and I are big fans, and so are some of our co-workers. Actually, I can do a pretty good Woody Harrelson now, which I'll save for a later episode. But it got us thinking about some stuff that will inspire our series next week. It got us thinking about madness and hidden religions and cults, some of which you probably haven't heard of. Stay tuned.